Hey, we are here this week in our Competitive Intelligence Experts series to talk about measuring your CI program and how to do that. And Dave knows all about it. So Dave, if I'm running a CI program, what are the key reasons why I need to care about how to measure it?
The most important reason is to show value to the organization. You are dedicating a resource to this effort. It should be resulting in some sort of positive outcome. And we know it is, but now we start to need to show it. This is going to give you the opportunity to, one, expand your team and expand your coverage, as well as, improve the bottom line.
That is a correct answer.
Thank you.
As decided by me. I am a product marketer, so I've been building competitive materials. I've been building battle cards for a while. I do all the competitive intel and competitor tracking. I don't measure anything. I don't know how to tell what the impact of my work is. Where do I begin?
Yeah, I guess square one is starting at figuring out what people are consuming, and I think this is honestly just go direct to sales and ask them. So it's about building that relationship and saying what information is actually helping you win deals. And this is actually super valuable if you think about it. When someone comes up to you and says, how effective is your program? And you say, well, I can say that from the 20 people that I've interviewed, that people are actually using this piece of content to win deals. So we're going to try and create more content like this.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so you're getting feedback from sales on what content they're using. How can you use those same relationships and same conversations to figure out if your competitive intel is accurate?
Yeah, accuracy is incredibly important in CI material. And as you're talking to salespeople, they're going to give you candid feedback to say, I don't use this because it's not actually true, or I used this and I found it from a client, it didn't work. So it's going to give you that clear sort of direct feedback. So accuracy is super important. Again, same idea is test it in the market as well as test it with your salespeople to get a feel for, is this true information or is this just rumor?
Okay, now let's talk about not just looking at what content is being used and what content is accurate or isn't accurate, but the types of content that are being looked at or the topics of content that are being looked at and how you might learn something from that information.
I think from the basics, it is start with understanding what battle cards are being used most, because this is going to be a key indicator of what competitors are coming up more often, or it'll also give you potentially an indication of where the content's weak. Mm-hmm. So people will either come back to it and say this is good or this is bad, and then maybe not come back there for a while. So starting number one is understanding what battle cards are being used the most. Mm-hmm. And if you can get more granular, start to understand what parts of the battle card are being used most. There's a bunch of tools, either Google Drive, that will probably give you some indication of how often people are accessing it. Mm-hmm. Clue has the ability to capture who's going to what battle cards and what's being viewed. So it'll give you a good indication of what content's actually helping them win a deal.
What are the most important actual sales numbers to look at when it comes to analyzing your CI program?
The most important sales numbers that you want to look at are win rate, number one, mm-hmm. Length of deal cycle. We've actually seen people able to reduce their deal cycle by implementing an effective CI program. Average deal size. And then one we're evaluating and trying to figure out more about is discounts, because we think if you have a better CI program, you can actually reduce the number of discounts that your sales team is offering. So when you're just starting out, think of what you're going to need to go forward. So number one, touch base with sales, get an idea of what works, what doesn't, and also go into how accurate the information you're producing is. Two, when you're building it out, get fields in Salesforce mandatory like competitor and win reasons, because this is going to give you a real clear picture over the long run of how you're doing in performance. Mm-hmm. When you get to the point that you've got that covered and you're starting to get into the quantitative measures, figure out how often people are looking at your content in terms of battle cards, track how often people are asking for information. This will probably give you a good indication of how to improve your battle cards as well. And then when it comes to influence on the company's bottom line, it's going to be win rate, deal cycle times, mm-hmm. Average deal size, and if you can, start tracking the amount of discounts, because if you can reduce that, that's a significant bump to organization revenue.
Well done.